A very good morning, dear students. Children, today also we are going to continue with the chapter Sectors of Indian Economy. In the previous lesson, we had discussed about disguised unemployment, underemployment, and we had seen that the tertiary sector, in spite of contributing the most to the GDP, employs very few number of people, and as compared to the primary sector, that is, more number of people are employed in the primary sector and few are employed in the tertiary sector, whereas contribution to the GDP by the tertiary sector is more than the primary sector, and the reason being that the tertiary sectors were not able to create enough jobs. That's why the people have no option but to keep flocking onto the agricultural sector, and as a result there is disguised unemployment in the agricultural sector. So as I said, that enough jobs were not created by the government in the secondary and the tertiary sector. That is a major reason for this sort of a disparity. So in today's class we will discuss about this very thing, that is how to create more employment. So now children, we'll take one example to create more employment opportunities for the people. So let's take example of a small farmer, Lakshmi. So Lakshmi is a small farmer who owns 2 hectares of unirrigated land. So unirrigated land means that there is no irrigation facility available, and this particular farmer is dependent only on rainfall. Now suppose she, along with her family members, say if hers is a family of 5 people, so including her, so all 5 of them, they work on the field and they are engaged into production of jowar and arhar on the field. But actually the work that they are doing can be done by 3 people. So the 2 people are disguisedly unemployed and the labor effort is getting divided among all 5 of them. So this is the major problem that we see in the agricultural sector. So in order to solve this problem, what the government has to do is the government has to create some sort of an employment. Either that the 2 members who are disguisedly employed should get some sort of an employment somewhere else, or the government can take some initiative, like the government can spend some money, or probably loan should be made available to a farmer like Lakshmi so that they can construct a well in order to irrigate the land. So the moment a well is constructed, then Lakshmi will be able to irrigate her land, and she'll also be able to take into consideration another crop, say wheat, during the Rabi season. Then in that case, what will happen, that production of wheat will also provide employment to 2 more people of her family. Say the entire process of sowing, watering and fertilizing the plants, harvesting, all of that, suppose if say it requires 50 days, so the 2 more members of the family will be able to employed in her own field. So this will help in employing them in her own field, and as a process disguised unemployment can be reduced, and also it will increase the earnings of the family. Or maybe a new dam can be constructed, canals can also be dug in order to irrigate many such farms. Rather than just providing this facility to Lakshmi, it should be provided to many other such farmers also. Then this will lead to a lot of employment generation within the agricultural sector itself, and it will reduce the problem of underemployment, will reduce the problem of disguised unemployment to a vast extent. Now students, as a result, what will happen is that Lakshmi and all other farmers, they will be able to produce much more than before. And as you know that the farmers, they produce on the field of land and then they keep for self consumption, and if something extra is left, then they can sell it in the market. So now that the production will increase to such a large extent, the farmers will need to sell the extra amount in the market. So then for selling it, and so to be able to make sure that the production reaches to the nearby town, then the transportation facility will also be required, right? So the government will have to also ensure that more transportation facilities come up. Even the storage facilities of the crops has to be ensured, and if that is ensured, that the farmers will keep producing more, and selling activity will increase, and it will provide productive employment not just to farmers but also to other people who are involved in the transportation facilities and in trade who are involved in that. So this way the government will be able to create more employment opportunities for so many people. And not just that, to cultivate the land, farmers will also require a lot of seeds, fertilizers, pesticides, agricultural equipments, modern technology. And being poor farmers, they'll not be able to afford so many things, so the government has to ensure that banks should provide loan to these farmers at a very low rate of interest. And so they have to make sure, again, the middlemen should be money lenders. The local money lenders should be avoided. The government should make sure that local banks are there, and banks give credit to the farmers at reasonable rate of interest. Cheap credit should be there, otherwise the money lenders who are there, they will obviously exploit the farmers by charging a very high rate of interest. So then if the government provides these banking facilities to the farmers will be able to purchase better quality seeds, fertilizers, agricultural equipments. So the demand for these equipments will rise, so production of these equipments will also rise. So it's like a chain, the entire process gets created, and a lot of employment opportunities can be created everywhere else. So this is one way the government can go about with the process of creating more employment opportunities. So children, we have seen how more employment opportunities can be created in the rural areas. Now, apart from creating employment in the rural areas, the government can also create employment opportunities in the semi-rural areas. How can the government do that? See, firstly, the government should identify, and then it should promote and locate industries and services in semi-rural areas too. So it needs to identify those industries first. Say, for example, suppose the farmers, they decide to grow arhar crop and pulses. Then what the government can do is they can set up dal mill in order to procure the dal from the farmers, and then to process the dal in the mill and sell it in the cities. So this is one example. Then the government can also make sure that cold storages are opened up, so that the farmers, they also get an opportunity to store their products, agricultural products, and sell when the prices are good. Then in villages also which are near the forests, honey collection centers can be started, where the farmers, they can collect honey and they can come and sell honey. And it is also possible to set up industries which process vegetables and agricultural produce like potato, rice, wheat, etc., which can be sold in outside markets too. Then this will help in providing employment opportunities not only in the rural areas, but it will also help to create more employment opportunities in the semi-rural areas. So we should not just be restricted in creating employment only in the urban areas. So this is how more services can be provided in the rural and semi-rural areas. So children, it is also very important over here to add that if you see in a country like India, about 60% of the population belongs to the age group of 5 to 29 years. And out of this, only 52% are attending educational institutions, which means that rest are not going to school, rest are not attending colleges, not acquiring education. So many of them may be working as child laborers. So if you just imagine, if these children also start going to school, then we'll require so many buildings, we'll require so many schools, we'll require so many teaching and non-teaching staff, administration will be required. So we'll be able to again create so many jobs only in the in the educational sector. And this survey has also been conducted by Planning Commission, which is now known as the Niti Aayog, and it estimates that nearly 20 lakh jobs can be created only in the education sector. Again, at the same time, if we improve the health condition, if more health workers are needed, if more doctors, nurses will be needed, if we start working on the health situation, if more research and development takes place in the health sector. And as you can see now also, since the world is actually hit with the coronavirus pandemic, and we have realized, especially our country India has realized, that we are lagging behind in the health sector. Even the state governments have realized this. The other day, even I heard on news that Arvind Kejriwal was also talking about the same thing, that what is missing in our country is that we do not have researchers in the health sector. That is where we are lagging behind. If we talk about the agricultural sector, see, our economy has not faced any such crisis. There was availability of food in the economy, there was no shortage of food at all. But if we talk about the health situation, Indian economy is still dependent upon the foreigners, and we are waiting for the foreigners to come up with some sort of a vaccine. Can't we create any vaccine in our labs? But the problem is that we have not invested much in the health sector. So again, if the government starts spending more money there, then a lot of more jobs will be created, and we'll be able to overcome the problem of unemployment in the country, or even say it, the problem of disguised unemployment in the rural and in the urban areas. So if we talk about how to create more employment, as I have already told you, that employment can be given to people. How? In the rural areas and in the semi-rural areas. In the rural areas, we have just discussed with the help of an example which we had taken of a farmer. In the semi-rural areas also, we have discussed by identifying and promoting and locating industries and services in the semi-rural areas. Then children, you know that every state, every region has a potential for increasing the income and employment for people in that particular area. Be it tourism, be it craft industry, be it the IT industry, a lot of services can be created in every state, in every region. And a study conducted by Planning Commission, as I told you, which is known as Niti Aayog, estimates that nearly 20 lakh jobs can be created in the educational sector alone, which we have just discussed. And the Planning Commission has also studied and said that if tourism as a sector is improved and worked on, then we can give additional employment to more than 35 lakh people. So just imagine the number of jobs that can be created. But just that investment has to take place, just that some efforts have to be put in by the government in these areas. Now, the central government in India made a law implementing the right to work in about 625 districts of India, which is called the Mahatma Gandhi National Rural Employment Guarantee Act, MREGA. Earlier it was NREGA, it was only National Rural Employment Guarantee Act, but then it was revised and now it is known as Mahatma Gandhi National Rural Employment Guarantee Act of 2005. And children, under this particular act, all those people who are able to work and who are in need of work in the rural areas are guaranteed, they are ensured 100 days of employment in a year by the government. And if the government is not able to create those employment for 100 days, then it will give unemployment allowances to the people. So since the government has guaranteed in these 625 districts of India to provide employment opportunity for 100 days, at least a year, government has to make sure that it creates those many jobs, and if it is unable to create those many jobs, then it has to give unemployment allowances to the people. So these types of work that would in future help to increase production from land will be given preference under this particular act also. So children, with this we stop here for today. Thank you.